Top 7 ways to make CBL effective for students. Wondering how you can optimize your experience as a student in UBC's case-based learning? As fellow students, we'd like to offer our suggestions on how to do so based on our first and second year experiences. Number 1. Set goals. We're instructed to set ground rules in CBL. However, these become rote after a few clusters and don't really address personal learning objectives. It's a good idea to set some learning objectives at the start of the cluster as well. Ask your tutor to help facilitate this, or simply suggest the idea to the group while developing ground rules. Number 2. Take some time at home. Take enough time to answer the pre-release questions before coming to CBL. It's probably also useful to look at a general approach to the clinical presentation or disease process too, even if questions in the pre-release are more specific. This might be the only protected time to really learn about a particular disease or process within the curriculum, so make the most of it. Number 3. Take charge of how you navigate the case. While it's great to do extensive pre-reading around all aspects of a case, let your interests guide your preparation when you need to be more selective with your time. If you're able to read around topics outside of the pre-release questions, pick 1 or 2 pieces of primary literature or other resources relevant to the case that you find most interesting, and share them. Another way to take charge of the case is to begin with an approach to the general patient complaint, and work through the approach sequentially before checking the CBL tutorial to see how the case actually unfolds. This is a more realistic simulation of clinical practice where the patient problem may remain quite undifferentiated. Another twist is to revisit the same presentation at the end of a case and pick a different etiology to proceed with. This choose-your-own-adventure style may help fill gaps in learning that you are keen to resolve. Number 4. Approaches. So what's with these approaches that keep being mentioned? Come third year, the emphasis of learning will be very focused on approaches to common clinical problems. Approach really means learning to identify and fully characterize the patient complaint, developing a prioritized differential, and initiating first treatments and investigations. Practice this at every opportunity in CBL. Number 5. Get differential. As we've already mentioned, learning to generate differential diagnoses is a very, very important part of medical training. In CBL, practice generating a prioritized differential, where you identify and exclude life-threatening diagnoses, as well as rank the most likely ones. Number 6. Justify your choices. Again, in the clerkship years, you will be called upon to explain why you might order a particular test or treatment. It's probably not necessary to stand on your chair to do so, but learning to justify your choices early on helps develop your thinking around ordering tests and prescribing treatments. Perhaps you could even think about how you will discuss the pros and cons of a diagnostic or treatment option with a patient. Number 7. Learn to love feedback. Your CBL tutors are with you to guide your learning and also to provide feedback. Feedback can help you identify strengths and areas for development. Tutors may be reluctant to offer specific feedback, but you can encourage them by asking for their input on specific aspects of your performance. Also, by setting learning goals at the beginning of a cluster, you, your classmates, and your tutor have a way to monitor progress towards your specific goal. Thanks for taking the time to go through these tips for success in CBL with us. Hope it was useful.